So, on as the principal engineer on the beautiful speakers in the HDI series, which, by the way, I had a chance to listen to when they were brought into our showroom in Chicago, just amazing. What prompted the decision to go in this direction?
Hmm. Um, I would say there were a couple of objectives that we want to achieve. The first aspect of it is the industrial design. We wanted to have a simple, elegant, but still carry the JBL DNA into it. And the second objective is the acoustic aspect of it. We want to have the loudspeaker that have neutral sounding, voicing, similar to gravel, but have a dynamic of the compression-based transducer system.
You have used JBL's patented and revolutionary D2 compression driver technology in the HDI series. What benefit will the listener derive from this given that kind of like synergy that's going on?
It's actually derived from the D2 compression driver, but we only use a single diaphragm, they call the annular ring TLNX diaphragm. Uh, Only a single one. It shares a neo-dimming magnet design, a brand new, recently developed a facing plug that actually very simple to build and it works very effectively. Um, Let me talk a little bit about the facing plug also. It actually have a triangle shape and the compression chamber actually right behind the back of it and it guides the sound from the back of the facing plug, which is the front of the diaphragm, to the front of the throat, which is arrive at the same time. It's very simple, easy to build, reliable, and it works perfectly. And the diaphragm, as you know, it is shared the same with the D2, uh, where the voice coil apply the force at the apex of the V shape, which is make it very strong. So in turn, it makes the diaphragm behave in the pistonic mode throughout the like from 1 kilohertz all the way to 17 kilohertz. So it well behaved there. Um, Other than that, it's pretty much similar. The material and everything is just at a D2. The distortion is very low on the design. So the benefit for the consumer, it should be, it actually, it extends the dynamic range when you listen to it, and it's very low distortion, and it's very reliable. That's another thing that's very reliable because it's very simple to build. So,
So then, uh, hopefully, I'm not repeating myself in asking this question. So like the M2, the HDI series waveguide or horn has certain geometry in its design. Does this design improve substantially as opposed to like a typical regular horn or waveguide setup that we see on other speakers that are out there?
they both based on what they call bi-radial horn, but on the HDI, on the M2, I think we make them a slight modification at the area near the throat of the horn to improve the off-axis response and also reduce the diffraction and the on-axis response. Because compared to a typical constant directivity waveguide out there, um, they most of them have problem with off-axis response, and also on the on-axis response, it roll up quickly. So the HDI actually kind of bring it back the on-axis response all the way to like all the way to like about 15 kilohertz, and it improved the off-axis response also. Especially on the new HDI horn, we actually reduce the coverage angle horizontally to about compared to the, the M2 from 120 degree to 100 degree horizontal and then 80-degree vertical and make it a little bit deeper so it can load the small 2410 a little bit better. So it's matching with the crossover point. And also, usually the smaller compression driver need more loading to give you the high sensitivity and improve the dynamic range or compression, you know, compression power compression. So it also that's one of the uniqueness in the HDI horn because the narrower coverage and horizontal, you have less reflection to the room. So you actually hear more the on axis. And the off axis also, because it's less reflection to the room, the off axis response is very similar to the on axis response. So when you move around the room, it sounds pretty much the same. And also in combined with the very smooth directivity, the horn offer you a very consistent sound stage, also very deep sound stage.
I was told that the HDI is a showcase of JBL's advanced technologies. Can you talk to this concept?
Start out with the enclosure. So the front baffle and the rear panel, we use 1-inch MDF, so it's pretty thick, and 3/4 on the side, along with optimized location for bracing. So if you look at the driver, they have bracing every single between the pair of a driver. We have bracing there to stiffen up the baffle and the box itself to reduce the vibration of the transducer that introduced to the enclosure. So that's one of them. And also, you see a large radius on 4 corners of the loudspeaker. That also for aesthetic and also to reduce the diffraction of the mid-range and the high frequency, would improve the clarity of the mid-range, the high frequency. As I mentioned, the 2410, the compression driver with the new patented facing plug. That's the first for us. And then this is a small throat compression driver. It's a 19 millimeter, so it's very good in high frequency. The waveguide, of course, is derived from the M2 horn with a narrow coverage, horizontal and vertical. The other transducer, all of them have gas frame, and except for the 12-inch woofer, we have advanced aluminum diaphragm, which is very, very high number for very high stiffness to weight ratio, which is that improve the speed of sound in the material, and that help the cone behave in a dystonic mode throughout the operating range. All transducer have very long voice coil for loss excursion, which is for high power handling. Also, along with the long voice coil, it usually because you have so much number of turn in the gap, it also produces the what's it called the flux when the current go into the coil, it produce the flux, which is the opposite to the flux from the gap. So in turn, it actually modulates the static flux. So it produces distortion. That's why we put a stabilized ring on every single transducer to counter that effect, in order to reduce all the distortion caused by the flux modulate when the voice coil moving in and out of the gap. On all the 5-inch, the 6-inch, and 8-inch woofer, we also have the copper cap, which we call it a sorting cap. It's actually at high frequency, the current actually going through the coil, produce the flux, and it modulate, but it stands in one place, but it modulate the field also there. So the copper actually create they call a current effect, the shorting ring. They call shorting the current and counter that field and reduce the amplitude modulation that produce a lot of third harmonic distortion and the mid-range frequency. And also because of the long voice coil, we have a lot of inductance, cell inductance introduced that kind of reduce the output at high level, at high frequency. the copper cap actually counter that also. That give us a more output, the mid range and high frequency, and it works perfect for our crossover topology, which is a 2.5 way crossover topology. It's similar to the Rebel um, crossover. So 2.5 way, the 2.5 way you need a higher output at the mid range. So the copper cap actually accommodate for that. Also, all the 5, 6, and 8 have 38 millimeter watch coil, pretty big, and the you know the 12-inch have 3-inch watch coil and long watch coil, and it have 2-inch peak-to-peak excursion, so it handle a lot of power with the 1,000 watt amplifier. See, other than that, I don't know if you have any question.
I think we've covered it all. You've been terrific in the time that we've had. I know that you probably have a lot to do as well, just as much as I do. So I'm going to leave it at that. Other to
Okay.
say, thank you very much for the time. I appreciate your ability to meet with us as we, try to get through this, and more importantly, being able to talk about some new products that I know people would have been excited to see at AXPONA this weekend. But I sincerely hope that when we all return, and I know we will in some manner, that AXPONA will be available to us again in August, and that I hope everybody can enjoy these products in the comfort of a great listening place. So thanks again, On. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, Beth. Thank you for talking to me, and I'm glad you enjoyed HCI. And stay safe and stay healthy.